Today I'll be speaking to you all about digital imaging and photography. So not so very long ago, we were only able to view photos that had been developed or printed on special paper. Photographers use filming cameras to record the analog photos that they took. The way film photography works is when the camera shutter is open, light enters the lens and hits the film, therefore capturing the image. In order for us to see those images, the film has to be developed using specific chemicals on that special paper that I mentioned just a moment ago. Each roll of film has a limited number of exposures and has to be replenished once all those exposures have been used. I have here a roll of Kodak film from some time ago. It held 25 exposures, so once I used the 25, I had to replenish another roll to continue taking photos. So a little bit of historical information about photography. Back in 1826, Joseph Niepce created and developed his own way of taking photos. He created something called the heliography machine. There's a photo of it on slide 1. It's the first photo all the way to the left. The heliography invention took him 8 hours to complete his photo. That photo is of the outside of his home, and it's called View from the Window at La Grasse. And you guys, please forgive me because I don't speak French, so I'm pretty certain I've just mispronounced his last name and the name of the photo, so please forgive me. In 1839, Robert Cornelius takes the first selfie, people. The very first selfie was taken in 1839, believe it. Mr. Cornelius used a method called the daguerreotype. There is a picture of that camera on slide 1 as well. It is the third photo all the way to the right. That selfie taken by Mr. Cornelius took a total of 5 minutes to take. So Mr. Cornelius had to sit in front of that camera for a total of 5 whole minutes. I don't think that'll work in this day and time with all of our people in the hustle and bustle and so forth. But anyway, 1839 was the first selfie. On in 1906, there was an earthquake in San Francisco, and there were a lot of photos taken, and it was found out that some of these photos, or all, I'm not sure exactly the number, were manipulated somehow. So that goes to show that back in early 1900s, we were able to make changes to pictures just as we can today with software like Adobe Photoshop. I have here a Kodak camera. It's a 1957 Starflex camera. It's called the Brownie. It sold for $10 back in 1957. And it was discontinued back in 1964, and I think I paid $4 for it at the flea market, which was a lot of money compared to the $10 back in 1957. But at any rate, this is something that I felt I wanted to have because it's an old antique, although I can't use it. More history. In 1975, Kodak built the very first prototype digital camera. This thing was huge, people. If you look at the slide and you look at the picture, if you look closely, you'll see on the side that there's a cassette tape installed on the side of that camera. I'm laughing because some of my classmates may not know what a cassette tape is because you probably were born in the late 90s or even 2000. But I'm telling my age at this point, so I'll continue. In 1981, Sony came out with the Sony Mavic magnetic video camera, and it was a still video camera. More history. If one of National Geographic's publication covers back in 1984 seemed a bit distorted, that's because it was. The peaks of the Great Pyramids of Giza had to be moved closer together so that they could fit, both of them could fit on the magazine's cover. So I guess they did what they had to do to get that publication out. A little bit of trickery there. But in 1990, Dicam became the very first digital still camera. That's DSC, remember? That camera could hold 32 photos. Digital imaging was added to the NPPA, National Press Photographers Association Code of Ethics, back in 1981. It could have been as a result of the move that National Geographic made back in '84. I'm not sure, but it is now in the code of ethics for photographers. In 1984, the huge company Apple came out with the color DSC camera with a 50mm fixed focus lens. However, it only held 8 images. 8 whole pictures, people. But it included a cable so that you can upload those 8 pictures to your computer. So I guess that was a plus. Digital imaging and photography is not only for handheld cameras, people, but it has become also popular with the mobile phones. Camera phones are being equipped with DSC or DSLR sensors to help anyone with the phone produce better quality photos and sometimes take professional-like photos. Not this phone. However, the Sharp J phone was produced in Japan, and it is the first mobile phone with a camera. It was released in the year 2000, so it wasn't that long ago. Some of you are just as old as the J phone. Anyway, the number of apps available for use with camera phones is growing. Apps for editing like Photoshop Express, Adobe Lightroom CC, Snapseed, Pixlr, Facetune, and so many more. Also, apps for uploading those edited photos to like Instagram, Google Photos, Facebook, and there are even more of those. To help with camera improvements, Apple, again, purchased a company called Lynx. Lynx was a camera, computational, and camera array technology company. So I'm pretty certain that helped Apple's iPhone be as great a camera phone as it is to this day. In 2016, Adobe Lightroom was the photo editing software was released for the Android phone. So everybody gets a little equal treatment right there, a little of some sort. Our textbook authors inform us that the most popular digital imaging apps for mobile phones are referred to as combined apps. Combined apps enable us to add text in different types of fonts, stickers, frames, and clip art to all of our photos if we choose to, so that when we upload them to Instagram, Facebook, so forth, they will be decorated for our friends and family to enjoy. There are apps like PicZone and iCollages and some others that have similar names that I can't name right now. For some statistics about digital imaging and photography, there were nearly 80,000 combined apps published at the end of 2016. I can't imagine how many are out there right now at the end of 2018. I'm pretty sure it's just big number, huge number. Prior to 2017, it had been determined that about 1.3 trillion digital images would be snapped. That's 1.3 trillion with a T. And that about 3/4 of that 1.3 trillion of those pictures would have been taken with cell phones. Because of the cell phones, because cell phones can now do so much, just like cameras, the sale of DSLRs have gone down quite a bit, but we'll see if that changes sometime in the near future. Who knows? Another type of photography mentioned in our textbook is called computational photography. This is when you're using a camera that is lensless. There's no lens, and the light is diffracted through a glass sphere or through a microscopic grate. And these cameras include HDR, which is high dynamic range images, and also panoramic images. So what does the future hold for this industry? Well, as far as camera technology, if it's not out there already, there could be a camera that could be powered by the same light that produces the image. It will measure the light and convert the light to electricity. I think that's pretty interesting. I'm curious about that. So researchers have also noticed that there's been kind of a rebirth of sorts of the use of film cameras. Cameras currently on the market that use film are like Polaroid, of course, the Fujifilm Instax cameras, the Lomography Lomo instant cameras, just to name a few. Also, Facebook has come up with the facial recognition. Of course, we know we can tag our friends on our photos that we upload, but they also have expanded the technology to include not only our facial recognition, if we're not even showing our face in the picture, Facebook has come up with technology that can still identify us by attributes such as our hairstyle, maybe our body shape, and other attributes that identify us personally. And these things possibly could be an invasion of privacy if we are not trying to be seen or identified at the time. So there's a group called the CV Dazzle Project. This group is searching for strategies to combat that facial recognition or that image recognition technology that Facebook has created. So we'll see if that goes well for us, and if it does, I mean, it's a positive, I would think. As far as jobs are concerned, for any of us that would like to enter the photography world as a career, the job market currently is not expected to rise by much at all, less than 5%, because of the advent of these great camera phones that anybody can use. But don't fret. Don't fret. Job openings may be more available to those who are skilled with their photography, their digital photography. They also need to be skilled with their photo editing, videography, video editing, and with multimedia production skills. So all those things combined can increase our chances of working within the photography field. So that's my presentation on digital imaging and photography. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. And I would like you to please see the questions on my PowerPoint slide. They're on number 14, slide number 14. Again, thank you very much. Bye-bye.